Hey, I'm April.
I'm Bayleigh, and this is the Nestled Podcast.
Here we chat about how to help design meet purpose. Our hope is that you will find inspiration to live more intentionally.
So join us each week as we let you peek in our nest.
And as always, the door will be open.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, Nestled Podcast listeners. We're so glad you joined us.
We missed you.
We miss you. We really do.
We have had a lot of technical issues that I would say we've not had since we first started.
the very beginning.
So we've had 2 different episodes. One, we had sound issues that we have yet to resolve. The other one, we sat down with our sweet husbands for like over an hour and interviewed the mess out of them and cannot open the file.
We can't get the files opened. It was actually multiple ones.
Yeah.
There's a whole thing. Anyway, we are sorry.
Yeah, and we're also sorry to Justin and Lance, who are going to have to probably redo their interview.
Justin is not caught up, so he's not going to hear this until after the fact.
So over the summer when he catches up, he'll hear that we warned him that we were going to have to redo
said it out loud before the fact.
But we're here, and April's in her new house.
I'm in our new house. We are not settled in.
But you're there.
But we're there.
And so that's one reason that we've been kind of off of Instagram. And then on my end, the reason I have not been on Instagram is because my children just fell apart.
And your phone fell apart.
Yes, that's true. So my kids started falling apart first. And we went to, I don't even know how many times we went to the doctor in October for like weird things that we didn't expect. And then my phone gave out. The button that you have to push to get back to your home screen,
it just
broke.
Died.
So anyway, I have a new phone now. We are just come back to life, people.
We are back.
We've got a new logo.
A new logo, a new website.
A new website. You can check it out at poshnestdesigns.com. We're going to figure out how to get nestledpodcast.com to go there, but we're not there yet.
Right now, but if you Google Nestled Podcast, you'll get
pop
there.
Up. And so shout out to our girl Lauren at Foster Lane Living. If you guys have a brand and you want some branding help, she was awesome to work with and reasonably priced, and we are just very thankful for everything she did. We were so out of it the whole time she was doing this for us that like it would take us like a week and a half to get something to her, and she was so patient.
Yes.
And she did things in a timely manner.
She did a great job.
She did awesome. She gave us exactly what we asked for.
Yeah,
so
we love it. So we can't wait for you guys to see it too.
So thank you, Lauren.
Yes. Thank you, Lauren. And also, in that time, we have continued our pursuit of our neighbors.
Yes.
Limping along.
But doing it.
We've still been doing it, and we've had some failures.
Yep. But we've had some good things, and some breakthroughs, and I don't want to get into the personal stuff of some of my neighbors, but had some breakthroughs.
Yeah. And we want you guys to share with us what you've been doing with your neighbors too. So if you are not in our Facebook group, Nestled in the Neighborhood, that's kind of where we are chatting about neighbor stuff, and it's a closed group, so it's okay to talk a little bit more about personal things there. And we are going to be on there more moving forward now that I have a home and Bayleigh has a phone, and those are like the 2 things that are necessary for us to be able to be engaged.
Yeah, so come find us there. It's like we said on Facebook, Nestled in the Neighborhood.
Yes. You all have spoken and said your desire for a
food person.
Everyone has said they needed and wanted to hear from someone to help with menu planning and feeding a crowd. So we searched the internet.
We found somebody.
And she's fabulous.
Yeah, she's going to be such a good follow for you because she has really good practical recipes. But also we found out over the course of this interview that she does Facebook Live videos where she shows you how to cook stuff.
Yes.
So we are going to be all over that.
Yeah, and if you struggle in the kitchen, Tiffany is going to be your friend.
That's right. Her cookbook, we talk all about it, but we are obsessed with it. It is my favorite cookbook I've had in a long time, and probably going to be my most used one because it's so practical.
It's very practical.
And I'm going to be honest, in this age of Pinterest recipes, which I am on board with to a certain extent, I'm loving having a physical copy of a cookbook that, to me, presents itself kind of like Pinterest in that it pulls from a lot of different types of recipes. So.
And even in the diversity of recipes, she gives so many things that you can actually make without having to go and ask somebody at Publix where is the coriander. Right. Or whatever the ingredient that you never use is. And so it is something that I feel like everyone, no matter your level of expertise, can use. So we're excited. And also, guys, it's a good read.
It is. We talk about that some too, but April really got into reading it, and then she pulled me into it, and like, maybe the only cookbook I've ever underlined things in the write-up at the beginning.
Yes.
Things that were not recipe related.
Yes.
So.
And Tiffany was just a real treat to talk to, and she has some wisdom to offer in family life and having grown kids, and so we just can't wait for you to hear from her. So here's our interview with Tiffany King. Today we're so excited to have Tiffany King with us. She is the author and creator of this beautiful cookbook that I'm holding in my hands called Eat at Home Tonight. We're so glad that you're joined us today. Tiffany, how are you?
I'm great. I'm so glad to be here. Thanks so much.
Yeah, thanks for coming. Would you tell us a little bit about yourself and your family?
Yeah, I have been married for 30 years. I was married when I was 20, so I still feel young, even though when I say that, it doesn't sound very young. And I have 4 kids. Our oldest she'll be 27 pretty soon, and she is married, so we have a son-in-law as well. Due to her. And then my second son is also married. So now I have a daughter-in-law and then another son and daughter. Our youngest is 16. So we are facing down the empty nest years. Yes. It goes by fast.
Yeah, you have, I guess, an 11-year span. Is that what that is? That's close to you guys, April.
Yeah, we have 5, and ours are from almost 15 to 6. And so we're between 9 and 10 years. Yeah. Just squeezed an extra one in that same.
April also got married at 20.
I got married at 20 as well. Today is my anniversary. We've been married 16 years.
Happy anniversary.
And it feels, as you get older, you're like, I feel still so young. So I get what you're saying. I know that I've been married a long time, but I still feel young.
Well, especially when you're introducing yourself with your voice.
Yes.
You know what I mean? You're like, you can't see me, but I promise I'm a spring chicken.
Yeah. For sure.
Oh, goodness.
Okay, so we've been flipping through. Tiffany was so kind to send us a couple of copies of this cookbook. And as a matter of fact, Bayleigh had said, I picked it up at Costco and almost bought it.
I did.
And I didn't have the extra money that week.
Yeah.
But when we got this, I was reading the introduction and I texted her and I was like, I love this so much. And one of the things that I was so drawn to was your description of the 5 love languages and how that is displayed in family dinner. Would you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, the 5 love languages by Gary Chapman. That book which is excellent.
Yeah, we love it.
Yeah, you can hit all 5 of those love languages during dinner time without even trying, which I love because you guys know, like when you've got your kids and pretty much the last thing on your mind is, how can I hit everybody's love language tonight? No, that's not going to happen. But it just naturally comes about. So quality time, obviously, you're spending time around the dinner table, and that is quality time. Words of affirmation, it's so easy to hit those, just to speak kindly to each other and build each other up around the table. That kind of comes naturally to us. Mm-hmm. The physical touch is another one. And if you are, you're close proximity, you can hold hands or you can give a pat on the shoulder or a quick hug. Acts of service, the whole meal is an act of service. Mm-hmm. And one thing that my oldest daughter pointed out, which acts of service is not her love language, but she did point out that if you have somebody in your family that is their love language, they're the most likely to help you at dinner time. So buddy up with that person.
Yes.
They're your friend.
For sure.
Yeah, for me, I lucked out, and that is my husband. Mm. So he almost always helps clean up, he really takes the lead in cleaning up every night, which is great. And then let's see, gifts is the last one. That one is a little bit of a stretch, but if you make a special dinner or a dessert or something for that person, that's like a gift.
Yeah.
So
I love that, especially having a bigger family, and you understand having 5 four, and then now having two in-laws, you're constantly like, am I loving each of my children well?
Mm-hmm.
Am I meeting their needs? And, trying to get to know what's going on in their heart. But what a simple way to know that you're in some small way, like reaching out to each one individually in that one meal. And so I thought that was just such a neat thing I had never thought about to bring out. I really, really love that.
We know, too, and I know most people listening know this, because I'll go ahead and tell you, Tiffany, we were shocked we polled people, like, what are some guests you want to hear? What do you want to hear more of? And almost unanimously, it was, we need to hear more about
meal planning.
Yeah. And feeding a crowd and things like that. That was just across the board. Even people who had another suggestion, they also suggested that. Mm-hmm. So we were like, we got to get some food people on the podcast. But I think that one reason that people are so interested in that is we know that the research shows that there are all these benefits to family dinners, right? But now that you have kids who have actually left the nest, can you look back and see some of those benefits?
For sure. Yeah. And I'm, right now it is a good position for me to be in because, I remember all of those years when you're cooking with babies and toddlers and preschoolers and school age and then high school where you're never even home. And that's its own challenge. But now I've got adult kids who are starting their own family. They only have a spouse. There are no grandchildren involved.
But maybe fingers crossed,
Yeah. Well, I'm like, we can all wait a little bit.
That's fine.
That's fine. But they are starting their own families with their spouses, and eating together has been a big thing for both couples. Mm-hmm. And it's really neat to see them forming that. And then we all still gather around the table pretty frequently. Usually at least once a week, sometimes more depending on what's happening, or some of them may stop in. We've even had in-laws here without their spouses, so you just never know who's going to be coming in. But yeah, it's neat to see how, even though I can't go back and remember very many specific dinners that we had together, they kind of all blend into, they're just part of your daily life. But the whole thing all together, that culture that you build together, it really does matter. It makes a difference in the future generations. It makes a difference in your family culture.
Mm-hmm. I think it's really important that people hear what you said, that they all kind of blend together, because I think that we are so big in our culture of everything needing to be the big show, and that those are the things that are going to create the memories that we want for our families. And it's the Pinterest life and it's the Instagram worthy post, but the things that create a culture in your family and in your home are the day-to-day things that do kind of all run together, but whether you realize it or not, are building the foundation of what you want your family to be about. And I just think that that's very, very important. I don't know, when you said that, something clicked in me that was like, we need to think about that.
Right.
We don't have to have a certain tablescape and a meal that's a theme and
Right.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I very rarely ever put a tablecloth on the table when we eat, or a candle or a flower. I mean, it happened sometimes, but very, very rarely. Maybe a couple times a year. But, it was all just simple, and we would gather. It became the norm to come to the table and be together.
Do you feel like you know your children so much better because of that? Because you got to listen to them talk and they shared in a way that maybe they wouldn't have otherwise?
Yeah, I do. And we also homeschooled, so we had a lot of together time, so it's a little hard for me to pull that out just individually.
Right.
But yeah, for sure, that was a time for them to be able to speak to the whole family, to say things. One of my sons is very, very quiet. He doesn't talk a whole lot, and he's number 2. Numbers 1 and 3 are big talkers. And at one point, I do remember one dinner, he said, "Everybody be quiet. I have something to say."
It's my turn.
So yeah, it definitely, there's something about everybody being together to say it versus all the other things that, may be going on in a day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you find that as your family grew, as far as, I know my kids are getting to an age now where friends are coming to dinner and that kind of thing, that was also an opportunity to get to know their friends?
Oh yeah, for sure. That's been a neat thing too, to have the friends come in and sit with us and talk about how did they do things in their family, or how does dinner time go for them versus what's happening here, because sometimes they might seem surprised by everybody being there, or whatever. Sometimes they're not surprised at all. It's a good time to get to know the friends.
Yeah, we've found that our kids' friends seem to enjoy family dinner because it is not the norm for them, even more so than my kids, who it's just the run-of-the-mill routine for them.
Right.
Yeah.
So for the people who are listening who are like, okay, this is a great idea, I want to do this, I know I've wanted to implement this, what are just some really practical tips to make meals happen?
My biggest tip is just to keep it simple. Right? Sometimes if we're planning out our meals, or we think, okay, I'm going to do this, we're going to cook at home this week, sit down with Pinterest, you're pulling all these recipes, and they can be elaborate.
Yes.
Your Sunday night ambitions are so much greater than your Thursday night energy.
Yes.
Yeah.
So just to keep it simple, and it does not have to be fancy at all. Your kids don't care. You can make healthy, easy dinners. And that's the way to get it done every day, day in and day out, is to make it easy on yourself.
That was one of my favorite things about your cookbook, is because I sat down this week and I did my grocery shopping this week, and on my meal plan, I probably put 8 recipes on there, outside of just my normal go-to monthly recipes out of your cookbook. And I was like, wow, my budget did not increase. Because usually if I get a new cookbook and I add a lot of
so
stuff,
many ingredients.
Yeah, there's so many ingredients that my budget is blown, but it didn't increase at all. And so I think that's really a testament to your book being a practical tool.
Right, and something that is actually something people can implement to really eat at home. Because it is so easy when you've had the long day, when you have the kids all over the place to go. Last night, actually, my kids were like, are we just grabbing pizza on our way home? Because we were at basketball games and that kind of thing. And I was like, no, dinner is on, it's on its way at home.
Yeah.
But it is so easy, if you don't have a plan, to just run through a drive-through or whatever. And we know that it's not healthy, but also it is not creating the environment with our family that we desire.
And the money adds up quicker than you think it is. Running through the drive-through, it doesn't feel super expensive at one time, but if you look back over the month and you did that 6 or 7 times, you spent a lot of money that month on junk.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. The other thing that I really appreciated about the cookbook is it's not an Instapot cookbook. It's not a crock pot cookbook. It's not, it's a combination of all different ways and all different levels of how elaborate you want your meal to be.
I love that.
Yeah, that is another thing, is to kind of to time. If you have a 30-minute recipe, it may or may not fit your day. You may need a 15-minute recipe, or maybe you had 5 minutes in the morning to load a slow cooker, and that was it. That was all the time you had that day. Or maybe an Instant Pot is the way to go that day. But to time your cooking method and the speed of the recipe to your calendar versus, I'm in the mood for tacos tonight, or, we want to eat this thing. That's another way to make sure dinner happens.
Yeah. Will you tell our listeners one of the things that I saw that I thought was really cool and made me feel pretty good, because I do this.
Yeah, me too.
But we've found that it's not natural to everyone. The meal builders that you said to keep in your pantry. What are those?
Okay, you're putting me.
Do you have them? We need some help. We can feed them to you. Yeah. But I wanted you to tell them and not me.
Well, let's see if I can remember.
Okay.
So we've got, I know beans is one, like the canned beans, or if you make beans in an Instant Pot or a slow cooker, you can freeze those. And if you like to avoid the canned thing. Yeah, so that's one because you can pull that together and do a variety of things. Rice, I think, is another one that you can
Grains and
build a
pasta.
meal with.
Yeah.
I really do love the Instant Pot for brown rice because it's so fast and then you get that health benefit.
Yes.
Otherwise, maybe using a jasmine type of rice, those cook really quickly on the stovetop and it's easy to do, but it's not as healthy as a brown.
Right. Broth.
Broth.
Yeah, broth of all kinds is another really fast way to pull a soup together. We kind of have this idea that soups need to cook for a really long time. And sure, they do mellow out. Their flavors get really good. But hey, sometimes we don't have a big time,
Right.
a big long time. And the 5-year-old is never going to know or care.
Right,
It's okay.
right.
It's okay.
I've also found that broth is so good for leftovers. You know, whenever you pull out something that was a soup yesterday, and you're like,
And now it's like a real thick stew.
Yeah, or it's like, this was potato soup and now it's mashed potatoes. If you put it in and you put some broth in, it just comes right back to life, you know?
Yes.
Because
Yes,
water
and
makes
you stretch it.
everything. Yes,
Yeah.
water takes the flavor out of everything.
Right,
So.
right.
Yeah.
Canned
that's exactly.
tomatoes was another one.
Canned tomatoes is just kind of a lifesaver, especially in the wintertime when tomatoes aren't great anyway. But they're just so handy. They go in all kinds of things. You can whip up pasta sauce, spaghetti, pizza sauces, soups, all kinds of things.
Yeah, and I don't know. I know this is like adding an extra layer, but whenever we lived in the country and there were a lot of ladies that were really good homemakers and and I had young kids, I found how easy it is to can tomatoes yourself. And when they are in season. So if you are totally against canned vegetables, you really can easily can enough tomatoes to last you all year. And we have U-Pick farms close by us where you can go. You don't even have to grow them yourself. You can go and it's like a 5-gallon bucket of whatever you can put in it for $10 or $15, and then you can have canned tomatoes forever.
Right.
Yeah.
I turn all of mine into salsa. But
Yeah, right.
But you can also can them as just tomatoes.
I just buy the cans.
Yeah, I do too. And I think you can get, I'll admit, I haven't read the label on a can of tomatoes for a while, but I'm sure that you can get canned tomatoes that are just tomatoes.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm good with that.
Yeah.
And then the onions and garlic.
Yeah, those just go with everything. It's kind of the base of all kinds of meals to add flavor. It's quick and easy. Yeah. Did I not have eggs in there as a meal builder?
No.
But you can add
I
them.
feel like they are. I just, that's a quick and easy protein. So if you're in a pinch time-wise, you can add any vegetables or cheese or whatever. And ta-da, it's a meal.
Right. Eggs have saved us many a day at
Us
the end
too.
of the month.
Us too.
We have eggs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
egg sandwiches are a Sunday night staple at our house. And also put some eggs and some rice and you've got fried rice all of a sudden.
That's right.
It's miraculous.
And my kids love boiled eggs. Even
Mine do
They
too.
love boiled eggs. I don't like boiled eggs, but my kids will eat them up. And so, anyway.
We had breakfast or dinner the other night when I didn't have anything prepared.
There you go. Okay, and this is putting you on the spot again, but so it's okay if you don't have any. But a lot of people are asking about feeding a crowd. Are there any certain recipes, maybe on your blog, off the top of your head, that are good for feeding a crowd?
Yeah, I really like things that people can customize to their own taste. So a big pot of meat that you could put in a tortilla. So that could be carnitas, or it could be, I think I've got a recipe for tacos al pastor. Pretty sure I didn't say that right. I should have thought of that when I wrote that recipe. Like chicken tacos, any kind of thing that you can put in a tortilla, because that can be customized. Even leave off the tortilla if you have somebody who's avoiding carbs. Other things that work really well are soups, just because it makes a lot. Other kinds of sandwich fillings work good. Barbecue or baked potato bars is another really easy way to feed a crowd. And I think I have I know I do, for several different pizza bar recipes that you make with naan or Nan. Again, I should double check my pronunciation.
It's okay. Look,
on
we
that.
mispronounce things all the time on here. We used to talk a lot more design than we do now, and we used to be like, we know we're butchering this term, but sorry. yeah. This is how you spell it. Look it up, you know.
There you go.
Let Google tell you how to say it.
Right.
That's right. Yeah, but those pizza bar recipes are another easy way to feed a bunch of people and make it simple.
One thing that I've noticed about soup whenever I've fed crowds here is it helps people, like, do their own portions way better. Like, if there's a plate, people will pile, and they don't care if people haven't gone, but, like, they're only going to get one bowl of soup, and usually people will wait until everyone's gotten a bowl before they go back for a second bowl. So, if you're someone who, like, at the end of your small group goes, gosh, we ran out of food again before, you know, try some soups and help people learn how to.
Or baked potatoes is another one I tell people all the time, because it's like, most people are going to get one baked potato.
For round one.
Round one. Now, if there are baked potatoes left, I have never had leftover baked potatoes after a big group is at my house. They always come back and eat them. My boys in particular. But, yeah, for sure, that's another one that's easy to portion control, because sometimes with a crowd that gets a little hairy.
We used to have a lot of really, like, college age, like early 20 college age guys in our small group, and that's whenever I was like, I cannot make enough food. The more food I make, the more they eat. Like, I cannot make enough food. So that's when I started doing soups a lot more.
And then you just take your broth that you have in the pantry.
That's right. Yeah.
Yes, and add.
So, Tiffany, what was the environment of your childhood home like? Did y'all do meals around the table?
We did. Yeah, my mom was a really good cook, and we had those meals every day when Dad would come in from work, and yeah, that was definitely a staple for us.
I think that a generation and even 2 generations ago, people were better about it because we didn't have so many screens. And now, especially, like, my oldest child is 6, so for us, when our kids were born, the screens were already in everybody's hands. And so, I mean, we've had to work hard to, like, go backwards and basically remove all the screens from our family life, period. But we have no screens at dinner time ever. No TV, no phones, no iPads, you know, parents included. And I think that a lot of families just aren't thinking about that. And because of that, these years are just getting lost. I mean...
Yeah, it's definitely different. Parenting my older kids, where we didn't have as much of that, you know, they were born really before the internet, certainly before we had the internet, and all the screens and everything, versus my 16-year-old who's kind of gone through at least her teenage years with all of that. Yeah, you have to be very intentional. And we've never had the TV on during dinner. That's always been a thing. And we've been good about the phones, but where we see them creeping in is if there's only 2 or 3 of us at the dinner table, then sometimes the phones will start to make an appearance. And we need to be more diligent about making sure that doesn't happen.
It's hard.
It is hard.
It's very hard.
Do you have any certain things as far as conversation starter type things that you try to use in your home when you are having family dinner?
Yeah, there's a list of conversation starters in the book, and sometimes I do feel like our conversation has gotten stale, or we just need to pump some life into it, and I'll use questions like that. Most of the time, you have things to talk about, your day or whatever's going on, but sometimes you just need to pump a little bit of new life in there and get things rolling in a little different direction, maybe. So that's helpful to have those kinds of things.
I know too, we've had guests over sometimes where it's like, let's look up some questions. Let's play a game, because you realize, like, the conversation is not going that well tonight. You know,
one thing that we do every day and has become an easy thing when people come into our home to invite them into is we always do best and worst. And when someone else is talking about the best and worst of their day, you don't talk. And for our little kids, that is because they're, like you said, you have certain kids that will just dominate the entire meal, the conversation, and everything. And so we go around, and our guests are always really quick to join in that. But there are times that you need a little more depth. I try to listen to what anyone's saying and dig a little deeper into their day and, into what's going on. But I love having some things. And I want my kids to, when they start dating, to, without even realizing it, know how to carry on a conversation with someone and how to ask questions that are going to get somewhere. Mm-hmm. And so I love that idea of the conversation starter questions. Mm-hmm. I just think about my baby girl, sending her off on a date in a car with somebody and him not being able to talk to her and her feeling awkward. And I'm like...
Well, because she's shy anyway.
Right.
So if a guy is not able to ask any questions, it's like...
So I want her to have some talking points.
Right.
I love that you're thinking about that. That's great.
Well, she's 13,
I know.
So you got about 3 years before you jump into...
I've got 4 boys and only 1 girl, and she's like the jewel of my heart. I don't know. She's pretty sweet.
She is. She's a good one. She is. I have all girls, and I'm like, if any of them could just turn out like Lydia.
Just one. I tell her all the time, I'm like, you just really answered all my prayers. Because I know all my boys are probably just going to leave me. They're going to fall in love, and I will not be the center of their heart anymore.
Yeah. But
she's going to stick close. So
right.
She's my only
hope. It is
hope.
different with daughters than sons, for sure. Yeah.
Okay. All right, so let's
moving on.
Yeah. Let's jump into Love It or Leave It. Okay, this is kind of a holiday / Thanksgiving themed Love It or Leave It to kind of get us in the spirit because we got this early Thanksgiving coming and it's still hot at our house. Mm-hmm. Where are you, Tiffany?
I'm in Kentucky.
Okay, so it's probably a little cooler there.
Yeah, we're getting a cold front and snow in the forecast, which I'm not a fan of.
Yeah, we've got a cool forecast, but for us that's like in the 60s coming up. But I think it's hot.
Over the weekend, the low is supposed to, or maybe the beginning of next week, dip into the 30s.
Ooh, that's really cold for us.
And we don't have any clothes now.
We don't either. We haven't bought the first winter thing because it's been like some days in the 90s, but consistently in the high 70s
and 80s.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not prepared. And we'll all be sick.
Yeah.
So that's coming.
So anyway.
Okay. Back to Love It or Leave It.
Okay, so pumpkin pie.
Oh, love it.
I feel like that's a polarizing one. Like you either love it or you're like, no, thank you.
Oh my gosh, I'll make one and eat the whole thing myself. I'll finish it off at breakfast. Love it.
Pie is a great breakfast food.
Pecan pie is maybe my favorite breakfast.
Heat it in the microwave a little bit, and with a cup of coffee. Mm-hmm. Is there a better breakfast? I say no.
No. Okay. Black Friday shopping.
Oh, leave it.
Leave it for me too.
No way.
I love it.
Bayleigh loves it. It's the type 7 in her.
It is. It's the adventure seeker. And I also love to be around people. Like, I do get energized by all the people. I know a lot of people are like, crowds. No, thank you.
Yeah.
But I don't mind a crowd.
No, I'll pay more. I do not want to fight anybody for a toy.
No, I don't like to go into an actual store ever.
Yeah.
So Black Friday, no.
Oh, the adrenaline rush.
Are you an
introvert? Y'all are missing out.
I am an introvert
Me
and
too.
a type 5 Enneagram.
Type 5.
So, yeah.
Hannah.
Yeah.
April's sister is a type 5.
Uh-huh.
I feel like she would also not want to do Black Friday shopping.
That is not her jam, for sure.
Okay, holiday travel. Do y'all travel much, or do you like to stay home?
We do travel for family, and I will, we can't leave it, but do I love it?
Yeah, it just is what it is.
It's a necessary evil.
It's really hard when the kids are really little.
Yeah,
that's true.
We have both sides of our family here, but we did go on a Christmas cruise, 2 years ago? We got home on the 23rd. I mean, we weren't
It was
going on
last
Christmas
year.
Day. We didn't have Miller, so it was 2 years ago.
Oh, gosh.
I know. But I loved that. I mean, I could do that every year. because we just were totally unplugged, which to me is one of the best parts about a cruise because we're too cheap to pay for the internet.
Oh, I love that.
So, anyway.
That's good.
Okay, how do you feel about Hallmark movies?
I can take them or leave them. Is that?
You can say that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
can do that way, too.
there's a time and a place for a good sappy movie for
Yeah.
sure.
Lydia and I watch every single one.
All the holiday ones.
Every one. We are forced to watch so much football at our house that Hallmark movies are like our saving grace.
I can totally see that as my girls get older,
Mm-hmm.
being a thing. My poor husband.
She's always like, do you want to go lay in your bed and watch a Hallmark movie? And I'm like, absolutely I do.
Yeah.
And if we have pie, it's even better.
Right. Okay, the last one. How do you feel about decorating for Christmas before Thanksgiving?
Leave it. Yeah.
People are very one way or the other.
Mhm.
I feel like me and
They
April
feel
are
very
like the
strongly.
only people who don't really care either way. I'm just like, as long as it gets done.
Right.
You know. We tried to put up our tree last night, and it was the bummer of all bummers. 12 of the strands of lights did not work. I had to, like, unwrap them all night, and the kids kept saying, can we decorate it yet? I'm like, nope.
I guess that's the benefit of starting early. 'Cause
Yes.
people like me are, running out at the last minute then
Yeah.
figuring out that the lights didn't work. Yeah.
Yeah, if it had been Christmas Eve, we would be in trouble. Anyway, it'll get done at some point.
It does bring a certain level of excitement and joy to your home, I think.
I love it. I love the light of a Christmas
Me
tree.
too.
So
Yes.
that's where I
Yeah.
stand on it.
Yeah.
Is I will still enjoy my turkey.
Right.
And I'm not trying to offend anyone by enjoying my turkey near a Christmas tree.
You're not like singing Jingle Bells all the
No,
time.
I actually am though, because I have a 1-year-old who I'm trying to teach Jingle Bells to.
She's getting really good at
Yeah,
it.
she can sing it, and it's precious. And by Christmas, she's going to be able to nail her Jingle Bells performance. But she has a little Jingle Bell, and that's what we've been doing while everyone else is at work and school. So anyway.
Tiffany, we have so enjoyed talking to you, and we are so thankful for your book, and we think that everyone needs to get it. Not only is it practical and helpful, but it is beautiful, and it looks so good sitting on my kitchen counter.
That's what I was going to say. It's going to look good on everyone's counter.
It's got so many pretty colors, and I love a recipe book that has a lot of pictures, so I really appreciate all the pretty pictures in there. And I even found myself, like, reading it.
Well, the very first day that we had them, she texted me and she was like, oh, I'm so enjoying this book. And I was like, what book are you talking about? And she said the cookbook. I was like, you're just sitting there reading the cookbook? It was before I had opened to see all the stuff you had written down. But she was. I was. Yeah. So.
I love that. That makes me so happy that when people tell me they like to read it.
Yeah.
I love to read a cookbook. So that mine is fun to read that pretty much makes my day.
Oh,
Good.
I'm so glad.
Good. Where can our listeners find you on the internet?
So my main site is at eatathomecooks.com, and that's the easiest place to find me. I'm also on Facebook at /eatathomecooks, I think. I don't know, search Eat at Home and it'll be there.
We'll link it in the show notes. People can grab it.
Yeah, I do a lot of Facebook Live videos, so if you like to watch people cooking, you'll find that.
Oh, yeah, we'll have to join over on that. I didn't know you were doing that over there.
We're fans.
Yeah, we'll come and watch you cook for sure. Awesome.
Fantastic.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. We hope you have a great day, Tiffany.
Thank you.
And
Thanks so much for having me.
Yes.
Thanks. Bye.